I got another great keyboard video for you today. We're going to be taking a look at the NuPhy Halo96. It's a 96% keyboard. Let's go ahead and take a look at the box and then we're going to open it up. Alright, so on the side of the box it has some basic stuff. So PBT keycaps, 2.4 GHz low delay, Bluetooth, hot swappable, light effects, side effects, 96% keyboard layout, aluminum frame, Gateron V2, dampered kit, the battery, and other capabilities. And this is the package art on the back side. I think it looks pretty cool. I did previously take a look at their Air, I believe 75. I liked a lot of things about it, but didn't quite like the lighting. I do like their artwork though. Inside the outer box is the inner box, and this one is just very basic. We can open it up and slide it out. Alright, inside we got some product information with, I guess, the, I don't know if they'd want to call it anime, but anime-esque character that goes along with this one. And here's the keyboard. It is well preserved in plastic wrapping with a plastic case over top of it, which is good to see. Make sure that it'll arrive the way it's supposed to. What else do we have in here? Some accessories. So we got some replacement keycaps, and looks like they package along some other keycaps so you can test out other options, as well as a keycap puller, and of course a braided cable. And in here, some basic instructions. Okay. And the packaging, good foam to properly take care of this device. Okay, I just want to take a quick look at these accessories. So I'm going to move my microphone close to it. It sounds like a clicky, red linear. It's nice and quiet. A brown. Let's see, a green. Gray. Some kind of black. And another black. And we got the braided cable. That is a pretty generous length, I would say. Yeah, I would say that's a very generous length. That should be able to stretch to even the, well, maybe not the farthest computer, but certainly far away. USB-C to USB-A. The braiding on it feels pretty nice. Got a little shielding adapter. Don't see that on a lot of cables for keyboards, so that's pretty cool. And here's the keyboard. Right off the bat, you're going to have to like the coloring that are on some of the keys. They do come with other options for like white or making more of them green, but you have to like the colorway. Otherwise, you're going to have to, well, replace the keycaps with ones that you do prefer. And I can clearly tell that these keycaps are not shine-through. Case in point, right here, I just pulled one out, and it's not shine-through at all. So I do prefer shine-through, but I was kind of interested in this keyboard overall. I do like 96% layouts, and I haven't found that perfect keyboard yet. I'm leaning towards either another 96 or going with a 75, where I think 65% is just a little bit small. Alright, here's the switch. Let's see if I can get my camera focused. It is a 5-pin MX style switch. Just note when you're getting that, it is a north pole sitting right there. Oh, my focus is out again. There we are, we got it back. And the switch type is that gray one we saw from the spares. That slid in pretty nicely and easily. So this should be fully disassemblable. That is outside the scope of this review, but it should very well be fully serviceable. Let's take a look at the underside. Alrighty, here's the back side of the keyboard. It's got what feels like very nice rubber pads right there, and it has a small step with also fairly nice feeling rubber, and big step, which again has nice rubber on it. Let's change. So this keyboard comes by default with a little bit of an angle, So personally, I won't even be using the feet at all. I think that I would prefer it to be just completely flat. But we'll see if I like the slight angle at all. And depending on what kind of user you are, whether you like this angle or not, that is kind of up to you. And I'll have to let you make that determination yourself. Let's continue taking a look at the front of the keyboard. So take a quick listen. Overall, I think it sounds pretty good. And the secondary prints on it are a nice feature. So you would push Fn, and I don't know what each of these, that's probably lighting, pause play, microphone. I personally just don't need dedicated keys for that, for volume up and down and mute. So you would just do that. If that is something you want, that might be a deal breaker for you, but you should be able to reprogram what keys do on this keyboard. You need to see in the software that comes along for it. But you can clearly see on the keyboard that it's compact, so you have your numpad and you're sort of missing the middle area where you have your print screen and page up, page down, kind of that kind of thing. It's moved over here. So delete is up there, number lock is there. Not sure. While we continue to explore the keyboard, here is the USB-C. So that can be used purely for power or for communicating with the computer. And let's take a look. So it looks like that would be power, and then we have wired mode, and then a wireless mode because it got a little printing on it. So I definitely just turned it on. And over here, I wonder if that, oh, Windows and Mac. So it's got a W and an M on it for Windows and Mac. And over on this side, right here, we got the receiver. So I know that this is wireless, so it really wouldn't work, but it would be nice if this had USB pass-through. It's just a feature I really like, but in wireless mode it definitely wouldn't work, which is kind of unfortunate. Well, I'm not really sure what else there is to say about this keyboard right now, so let's go ahead and plug it in and see how we do with the software and, well, using it in the typing tests and stuff. Okay, first things first, getting the software installed, we need to go to NuPhy's website. NuPhy, sorry, I'm not sure which it is, but you want to check which console version you want to use, and since this is the Halo96, we click on that, and it takes us to a Google Drive, and you're given this warning: Google Drive cannot scan for viruses. So it's basically download at your own risk. I don't personally like the feel of that, but I guess this is where we are, so we're going to take a look at it. Alrighty, now we are in NuPhy's software for the Halo keyboard, and let's set up some lighting. So in the lighting profiles, there are a bunch of different options here. So fixed on, respire, that's probably some kind of flashing, yep. What else do we got in here? Rainbow wheel, flash away, neon stream. It'd be kind of cool if there was a option on the screen to show you what it looks like. There we are, holding up to the camera. You get the kind of the general idea of what's going on here. So let's set up my custom lighting profile. Well, unfortunately, adjusting the lighting on this keyboard seems to be impossible. I went actually searching online to see if anything was up with it, and it seems like that this is a known issue that cannot adjust per key illumination manually by selecting the keys. So I would hold off purchasing this until that is fixed. Of course, if you want to take the risk, you may go ahead and do so. So it all depends on whether you like it or not. And we're going to go over the typing experience. I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I got the, what were they called? Baby Racoons. I've basically only just found out that they are linear switches. I probably would have done the Baby Kangaroo or the G Pro Brown 2s if I were to have purchased it again. Okay. But the software not working as intended is kind of a downer, considering that its retail price tag, not on sale price tag, is between $169 for the baby raccoons to $159 for the G Brown Pros. But let's click through the rest of this so you can adjust everything else in there. The color wheel, you can adjust your key settings. Yep, I don't know if it's showing up on camera. Let's zoom in a little bit. You can see that it's highlighting the keys, so I can go and adjust that if I so chose. And of course there are macros for those of you who want to change stuff. But the key settings is really nice because you can basically swap around whatever keys do what if you really want them to. So that allows you to customize this layout to suit your particular needs or keyboard layout that you prefer. Okay, I've got a little in-stream update from my original view. So I figured out that I can indeed change it. You have to go to gaming mode and then you select your color, in this case purple, and then you click on keys. If you wish to change the color, so let's say we want to switch it to blue, first you turn it off and then you click it to blue. But let's go back to purple, click. It is a different shade of purple. Unfortunately, you can't hit like shift and it's a little bit slow and clunky, but it certainly is effective, and it's auto updating on the keyboard, which I know you can't see right now. Let's take an aqua color. Let's do these guys. Boom, 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 boom. Maybe not that one. Backspace. Okay, let's take a green and go up like this. We're just clicking through really quickly. Let's do red. So normally it puts in gaming mode the controls as white, but of course you can see me switching it to red. And let's put some orange in there because I like the look of purple and orange together. And let's just go ahead and make that all orange. And that should do it. Let's jump to the keyboard. So this doesn't change much about my original review after we've updated the different keys. You can see that the blending isn't all that great and the illumination is still around the keys, which in my opinion is still not ideal, but at least you can do the per key illumination that I do prefer as a feature on basically a gaming keyboard. So it doesn't really change my thoughts about the keyboard, but it does mean that my remarks about the software are no longer really a concern, and I think it could be a now excellent choice, assuming you trust them to keep their software safe on their Google Drive. Other than that, let's get back to the original review. Okay, we're about to do the typing test. As always with the typing test, I have my microphone pointed at the keyboard. Everything else will be muted, so you'll just be hearing the keyboard sounds. I am dyslexic, so I'm going to be reading past my camera at the screen. I'm not the world's fast typer, but I'll give it my best go, and we'll see how she does. How would I do? Go away. I just want to see my results. 52 words per minute, so that's kind of in line with my average. So right away, I'm going to say I'm not a huge fan of these baby raccoons. Just had no feel whatsoever. I mean, they're not bad if you like linear switches, just no real feel. So like, this is the website. And when we come to the page, it comes in white, it comes in black, and then here are the different switch options: scatter on brown, scatter on brown, or grad on reds, scatter on G Pro red, and then, sorry, baby kangaroos, baby raccoons, which is what I ended up getting it with, and the night breeze. So if you like linear, the night breeze, baby raccoons, maybe for you, or the G Pro red 2. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at the baby kangaroo or the G Pro browns. So as for me, the baby raccoons weren't necessarily bad. It just didn't feel that great to me. Continuing our quick exploration with the website, they talk a lot about the product. You can come to here yourself and actually read everything. So we'll just take a look real quick. You got some nice product images. They talk about its multi-layer design. So it's got this rubber pad that actually makes it very silent to type on, which was nice. It was just the switches themselves, but the tactile switches are an option, so that is excellent. And the reviews. How many reviews are there? It didn't say down there. Let's go back up to the top. I'm sorry for the blur. Only 13. So this is a newer keyboard. So I'm sure it's going to turn out just fine. Ratings actually had it up. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, first up for the gaming test, we're going to be using it wired. Here's the wireless dongle. I'll plug that in a minute. And my game of choice here is Black Mesa, just because it's one of the few first-person shooters I have, and bonk. Oh, now they're all seeing me. All right, let's run around. Run around. Oh, I'm gonna die right here real quick, aren't I? Reload. Woohoo! All right, that was cool. So far the response is right in line. So I've got my Razer Azoth. So, like, by hand, I'm not noticing any real difference. And we'll get into the latency in here in a second, because there's a ratings review out there of this keyboard already. But it feels just fine for mine. I'm like more or less just a casual gamer at this point. So, take that with a grain of salt. But so far it feels perfectly fine. Let's actually at this time go ahead and switch over to the receiver. Alright, to get the keyboard set up, right now it was in, can you see that, wired mode? So we need to stick it onto the bottommost, and that puts it onto wireless, and it has a W and an M. So hopefully, yep, we are nice and connected. And yep, for all intents and purposes, it feels just as responsive. Nope. And in case you're wondering, I am just running around, goofing around, because this is a review and the point is to run around. When I play seriously, I am much more strategic. Yeah, for gaming, I would say that overall you would be plenty happy with this, as it basically being a part-time gamer, part-time work, because its layout does then lend itself to being able to work, because it's got that numpad. Alright, let's jump to the next section. Okay, this is basically just to do a quick little comparison of the NuPhy Halo96 versus the Drop Shift. Both of them are like 96% keyboards or whatever they call 100 key. So you got the number pad, you have the standard layout, just a couple things are reduced. You are missing that center section and allows this keyboard to shrink in size so that you have more desk space but still a fully functional keyboard. And if we line up the two, we can see that the NuPhy, if I get that nice, is a tiny little sliver bit smaller. So if desk space is an absolute premium for you and you require fully functional keyboards, I shouldn't say fully functional, full functionality of a keyboard, meaning numpad, and you want it attached and not buy a separate numpad, this is a slightly better pick for you. They're pretty close in weight, actually, considering that this doesn't have a battery. Well, maybe not that close. In terms of the height difference, this sits lower to the ground, so right there, you can see that my finger's hitting it. So this would be what they call it, like it's deeper, or I don't know what the term is, like full height, where this just sits a little bit higher. So you may want to wrist rest with it. The drop shift also does sit lower, pass through, but for wireless ones I sort of get it, but I wish it was an option. While the Halo, it's thicker and then it gets thicker, but considering that its standard height is pretty much right on line with where I used the drop shift, I would say that it's acceptable, it's fine. And in terms of our key selection, they should be near and identical, just the layouts might be slightly different. Here's like, there's home, just turn on, there's home, that's, I moved my number lock, there's number lock, I moved delete, there's delete, page up, so you do get the larger plus sign. Oh, I'm off camera. Larger plus sign, the big enter, so here that's plus and minus, then move the minus up, so if my print screen was here. And that is one thing I don't see. I see cut. So it does look like this does have overall actually more keys, but it might actually not. But it is a tighter looking keyboard. It's more reminiscent of a 75% keyboard in terms of how actually compact they kind of crammed everything in. So if you like something that has a more spaced out look, the drop shift, or there are other similar ones you don't have to buy from Drop. But this is certainly a lot quieter, and I mean, I know the switches are different, but the shift sounds more hollow, and it's lacking that rubber padding that the Halo has. So if they can get the software figured out, this would be an excellent pick, and actually I would say it's superior to the drop shift in almost every way, other than it doesn't have USB pass-through, but it is wireless, so that is an advantage. And this is what I call the verdict section. Professional reviewers at ratings.com rate this keyboard fairly well. They are a site resource that I personally use to help me look up, well, at least keyboards in this case. So we're going to go over it real quick. So gaming gets a score of 8.6, office work at 7.6, and programming at a score of 8. And they give the descriptors why. Some of the options available. And they describe one keyboard that I have actually reviewed, the glorious GMMK2, where the GMMK2, like the drop shift, will have lower latency, but this is better sound dampening. Alright, this is how they do their testing. The build quality, they rated at an 8.5 with PBT keycaps. Ergonomics is rated fairly poorly at 6. Hardware customizability is rated at 8.9. Backlighting feature is rated at 10, although we had issues with it at the time of, well, filming and writing and producing this, so hopefully it's changed since it's been produced. The black light clarity is very poor because the keycaps are not shined through. Wireless versatility, extras. I did end up choosing the same keycaps, the Gateron Baby Racoons, which if I were to do this again, I would not choose that. I would have chosen the Baby Kangaroos, I think. And then it has the actuation force required. Typing quality is rated at 8.5 with these linear switches. I assume that would be a little bit better with a tactile switch, but as I do not have it in front of me at the time of this writing, I cannot guarantee, and hopefully in a future production I'll actually get my hands on one of the keyboards that has tactile switches to just kind of test it out. Typing noise is rated at 8.5, and I would agree with that. It has excellent noise characteristics, meaning very quiet. And last, but certainly not least, is latency. Its wired latency is rated at 6.2. Receiver is 11.7, and Bluetooth at 21.1. So I wouldn't use it Bluetooth for gaming at all. With the receiver, it's adequate for most gamers. Like, I didn't notice it, but I'm also not a pro. And wired is at 6.2, which is like the minimum or high end for semi-pro. Just for quick comparison's sake, this is my drop shift score. There, the drop shift had a little bit higher build quality. If we go to, there are backlighting. So you can actually see that Ratings has updated their testing methodology. So, like, they've added more detail. This was rated at quiet. This one's rated at an actual score, not just quiet. And then latency was 6.2, and the drop shift was rated at 6.2, which gives you some idea. I found so 6.2 is good for kind of amateur to semi-pro. Well, there we have it. That is my review of the NuPhy Halo96 keyboard. I hope you enjoyed it, and my thoughts about it and how it compared to other things. If you've got constructive criticism, I'm open to that so that I can improve my review process for all of you out there. Other than that, check out my Patreon page, and I hope to see you next time here on Computer Tech and More. I'm big into fan testing right now, so I hope you'll stay tuned for that.